can't escape.
Quite well said.
All right. So I'm just starting with my intro, and yeah, you can say something about it. I'm holding the mic towards you. I guess you know how this works. Okay. All right. Hello, guys. I'm literally sitting inside a van with today's guest, who is Icicle. Hi.
Hello, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm inside a van though, so I don't know how it's going just yet,
Yeah, very casual setting, I'd say. Okay, thanks for taking the time to have a chat with us. And the first thing I want you to do is to describe yourself in 3 sentences for everyone who doesn't know you and hasn't heard of you.
Well, I am Icicle in this case. I make music, drum and bass predominantly, and dubstep and techno. I do 3D animation and things like that. And I used to make lots of simple bassliney rollers, and I made one tune that has like a really annoying melody in it that everybody plays all the time and I don't like, which is called Arrows. That's me, 3 sentences.
Okay, thank you. Some people confuse it, and I do it too sometimes. You're a Dutch guy who's been to England, who's been living there, but you moved back to the Netherlands. Is this right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think I moved to London when I was breaking through, and I was playing there more and more. And then a friend of mine split up with her boyfriend at the time, and she was looking for a new flat. And then just like, let's be flatmates. And this was in 2007 or something like that. And I lived there for 10 years. Then Brexit happened, didn't help. Through circumstances, found myself back in Holland about 4 years ago, and. Yeah, it's been nice to be back. I wasn't really planning on ever moving back to Holland, but it's a very comfortable country to live in, and just bought a house, so probably won't be going anytime soon.
All right. Was music or did you start making music in England, or did you start it doing before?
Oh no, way before, because when I moved there I was like 23, something like that, but I started making music when I was very young. I started with piano lessons when I was like maybe 6 or 7 or something like that, and then pretty soon we got a keyboard as well. So we had a piano but a keyboard. That keyboard had like this sort of play automatic rhythms and like things like that inside it that were interesting, and then started recording that on tape and playing over it. And then my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, we were all like, when was this? This was like in the end of the 90s, or no, mid 90s probably, because we were like young, like 10, 12. He had like mates who had like Reason, like all these forum people. We were talking on forums. Then we got Reason installed on my parents' computer, started messing around with loops, and just started getting more and more serious. So I've been trying to make music with computers for, I'm 37 in a week. So probably started messing around when I was 10. So we're talking about 27 years of trying to make noise with a computer. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful to hear. Would you say that the time there in London had big influence on your style of music?
That's hard to say, obviously, because anywhere you live, and especially such a big city, which was will have an effect on your music. I think my music was already what it was before then, because when I moved to London, I already had releases on on Hardware and Shogun and Subtitles, and I think my sound was already formed. People were starting to know me for a certain style, and I was already playing in England quite a bit. And I think my style just happened to be very London anyway before that, and moving there just made sense. But then after that, when I moved there, obviously I was around the corner from Perez and Spectre Soul and like lots of other guys. Saber, back then we were hanging out a lot, and we were writing music together a lot. We were just like sharing music with each other, and just we had this really nice clique in North London. So yeah, surely that's had a big effect on what we were all doing, I think. But I think like the basis of what I was doing as Icicle was kind of formed before that, just from music that I was finding and people in Holland that I was connecting with, and and some older guys, like a good friend of mine at the time, John Roscoe, who was like the local dude in the local record shop, who was showing me lots of awesome stuff from like 90s drum and bass. So yeah, it's been a journey, I think, in that way. But London has obviously had an effect on me. It's impossible to deny that, I think. Yeah.
Beautiful. You said you came back before the pandemic, during Brexit time around there. What would you say? What is the state of Icicle and this music after the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously quite relevant now because I just put out my last album on Vision, which came out the end of last month. So we're like 3 weeks ago already. Time flies. Yeah, I mean, the pandemic, this is a long story, obviously. You can't just summarize that in 3 words because it had a massive impact for anybody working in music, for you guys as much as anyone. So during that, it was a difficult time. I already started writing this album. I wasn't sure whether it would be my last one or where I was going with everything, but I was doing techno under a different name as well, and I was kind of thinking like, where am I going to progress towards? Then with the pandemic happening and all my shows like falling away, that was a harsh reality for a bit. But then also lots of upsides. I mean, like for me, because I was doing a lot of stuff that I already, did before, and for me it was like this sort of time where I was forced to reconsider, think about what's important to me, and I was always doing animation and 3D stuff, but then I was able to really like push that for a while because I wasn't playing anyway, and I was writing music, but there's only so many hours you can be in the studio without playing parties and having that music like be heard by people. So that side of my creative work I was able to develop, and that's gone really well. I have a lot of work in the company. So with the music, I think next year is the last year of Icicle. Yes, and this is my last album. But I wanted to go out on a high and do like some stuff that I really wanted to do still. Working with Vision guys has been great because they're like, the A&R process with Nick from Noisia was wicked, and they really put a lot of faith and trust in me for putting it out and letting me write the album the way I wanted to. I'm doing some remixes still, and there's some music to come. We're doing a big remix package in March of the album. Like lots of people, got a massive list of people that I want to do remixes, and we just started sending out requests and seeing who can do what. So that's really exciting. Yeah, but like, what you're saying, post-pandemic times, it's really forced me to look at like, what have I done? What do I want to do? And make some choices, I mean, end of the day, like the DJ lifestyle is great. Flying around the world continuously to play places is obviously a dream. But eventually you start realizing how important it is to be at home, to wake up in the same bed as my girlfriend every day. And it's weird how in perspective everything was put by it being taken away, I guess, for a while. And I've had a really good run, I think, of the music that I did the way I did, and now it feels like there needs to be a conclusion of it as well. But I'm not gone yet, it's on the cards. Yeah.
Okay, if you stop, what comes after Icicle?
I mean, I'll never stop making music, but there's a point where I think I have to just retire it as a project, because there is a sort of, you keep getting offered shows, you never stop, it's always comfortable, and you need to focus on different stuff. Sometimes you need to make decisions. I'll still keep making music. Maybe there'll be a new project, a new name. I'll still do some techno stuff, but it's mostly my 3D company, like game design. That's what I'm doing. There's a lot of sound design involved in that, so I can use it there. We actually, me and my friend Darko Esser, who's a techno DJ, we combined our studios, built like a really big studio with like one of every synthesizer made, pretty much. Like we have like a synthesizer museum, I think you can call it. So I've built a place where I can really write music again, do like a lot of sound design and stuff. So we're not ending, but there needs to come. Yeah, I wanna change like properly and do it. And you have to make some hard, bold choices and not get stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, I totally get it. We had your cousin Proxima here a few years ago, I heard your brother is also into making music. Is there any family member who is not into music?
Yeah, and there must be, but I guess like I come from a musical family in the sense that my dad and my mom also, she used to play the violin once upon a time and the piano, but my dad he has like an Irish folk music band with his like mates from like literally from university when he was young. They still play, and like what I was saying earlier, when I can't remember, 6, 7, 8. They started me with piano lessons, and they always thought it was important for us to do music as well as other things, but music was definitely part of our upbringing. That's probably a big portion of that. Like what you were saying, my brother is a techno producer, has a label. He does really well with that. And yeah, Proxy is Proxy, obviously. He's an awesome producer. So... But I think it's also the fact that we kind of gravitated towards each other. Me and my brother were always kind of pushing each other and actually fighting for our parents' computer. Who could like 1 hour me, 1 hour you. Like we had like a whole schedule. So I think there's like also a slight competitive element. But you know, yeah, those. I don't know. I guess you have these little pockets sometimes.
Okay, nice. I've got a few DJ questions. You're booked tonight to play a drum and bass set and a dubstep set. What do you think of the concept?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there was a time when I used to do this more, you know, outside of your party. There was like the 2010s or when was not probably a bit later, I guess. But then when I was doing, there was a time where I was playing almost more dubstep shows and drum and bass shows when, you know, me and Youngster were doing a bunch of stuff, and that was a great time because like I was playing half and half sets where I just did half an hour of dubstep and you start playing, everybody goes off because you start playing, and then halfway through you speed up the tempo and everybody goes off again.
Yeah, I saw that back then in 2014 at the Outlook Festival where you played on the stage, and then on the board it was great. I think it was with Proxima together.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, we did that. But I mean, it's like, for me that was like the merging of the two styles, and when it was fully open, and when dubstep also really sounded like drum and bass did, but slower and whatever, which it still does, by the way, obviously, if you find the right tunes, but it was bigger then. And then there were people booking me also for this, like you can play like in the dubstep room and the drum and bass room, and I like it. I mean, I like playing it in one set as well, but the downside of that is that you always have to, sometimes you just want to do one thing and just like go for it. And then when you separate it out into two sets, you can do both things well, you know. Something to be said for playing lots of different stuff in a set. I like it when people do that well, but it's not always the right vibe. You don't, sometimes you have a crowd, you go like bang this, and then, you know, there's a lot of joy in that as well. So yeah, I think that concept is great. You know, obviously I knew about your party for years because Gijs came back with a t-shirt that says 2 Gijs, 1 cup. And yeah, it's nice to finally be here, especially after having tried to make this work for years now.
Yeah, it's been 2.5 years now. Yeah. Fuck the pandemic.
Definitely.
What will you say are the difference between a drum and bass crowd and crowds of other music, or are there difference in terms of DJing itself?
Yeah, there are differences, but it depends. I mean, like, there's differences between any crowds, like day to day and city to city. So that's hard to kind of put into words, you know. And crowds move with the time as well, you know. Like, I think what is a downside and an upside of a drum and bass crowd is that the attention span is short, which means that you have to have like more energy, more drops. Like you can, but it's harder to slowly take people somewhere. I find that, which is also, like what I said, is also an upside because you can really like lash out the energy, which is fun also. But then, you know, if I look at when under my techno alias, if I play, I usually play a 3-hour set or a 4-hour set, and you just go like, all right, we're starting here, but like in a couple of hours, we're gonna be there, you know. And people have that patience to go there with you. So that's, I think, a difference. And dubstep strikes a balance between that because it can go off really hard, or you can space it more. But a dubstep crowd these days, I couldn't say what they are necessarily because they are few and far between, you know, like, so I'm really looking forward to tonight for that, you know, because yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people react.
yeah, I'm also very looking forward for your set. I hope you will like the event. What does a promoter need to do that makes you feel comfortable?
Oh, not that much, I think. You know, it's always nice when you're being picked up and taken to, like, say, a vegan Vietnamese restaurant with nice food. So it's an upside. But no, I mean, end of the day, well, you know, I think it's nice when people just make sure that you're comfortable and ask you if you are, you know. Otherwise, you're there to work. You know, you might have traveled on an annoying plane and had some stress with blah 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 security or whatever. So, you know, it's nice when people, but you know, most people really make the effort, to be honest, like, and just make sure that you feel comfortable. But you know, what do you really need? I think end of the day, all you need is like a good working setup, a nice stage, and a couple of beers. That goes a long way.
Okay, he's a simple man. Yeah, I've got some producer questions. How's techno going?
Yeah, how is techno going? I mean, I've not been as throughout the pandemic. You know, when I started writing the post my last album. As Icicle during that time, and before that I was really pushing techno. I was like almost a resident at Tresor. I was playing there every 2-3 months, and then in the pandemic I just let it go for a minute because I focused on my album, and I found it harder and harder to write music because I lost the connection with the dance floor. You know, like there wasn't one anymore, and then you think like, this is a cool tune, man. Oh, imagine this going off somewhere. Oh, I guess not. You know, like. So I wasn't writing that much music, and then techno also I wasn't writing that much. Having said that though, I still intend to do more releases. I have something coming out with my friend Tasha actually, who's playing Bergen tomorrow. We're going to see. So there's some bits on the horizon there, but yeah, I don't know. You know, I was really building up momentum before the lockdown. That momentum kind of like, you know, leveled off because there was no shows to keep playing. And now I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna sort of build that back up, and what I'm gonna do with it. You know, I think I'm not sure yet, to be honest. But I do know that I really want to write more tunes, and that I am writing more tunes, because that stuff does resonate with me, and so it does go for all the music that I like to make, but definitely also for techno.
Do you have any other musical side projects?
Do I? No, I don't think so, I guess. It's basically Icicle and Cadence that I do the most. Yeah, no, some sound designing stuff, you know, but it's the more boring stuff, but yeah.
Who are your top 3 people to collab with?
Still that I haven't done, or that I did already? Like, I mean, the best.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah, I mean, you know, out of people I've already done, obviously working with Noisia was great a long time ago now, but like it definitely taught me a lot. And same goes for Memphis, was always really fun to write with him. It's like the person top of my list that I still want to work with, but I don't know if the time is there anymore now. Maybe under a different guise, but is Amon Tobin, who's been like a massive hero of me since day one. He's like, for his sound design, but his musicality, he's definitely one of my favorite producers ever. And then I had a quick moment writing a little bit of music with a Prodigy, which was fun. Never came out. Well, tune came out, but most of my contribution wasn't in there. But nevertheless, it was an interesting experience, having contact with that level of, you know, of it all. But yeah, Amon Tobin is the one. You know, if I'm going to quit Icicle tomorrow and we haven't written a tune, that'd be my number one regret, I think.
Okay, all right. I have listened to the Vision Radio episode where they talk about your album. And I think you said something like you take inspiration from a lot of music. What music are you into most right now in terms of listening and producing?
Don't know what I'm into most right now, because of the album stuff, I was really just writing. I wasn't listening so much. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, literally, I kind of locked myself in. So when I was talking about like the influences and things that influence, they're like sort of long-standing influences, like proper old rave stuff, or like also as sort of an aesthetic that kind of like I pieced together from different types, from like IDM type because like I was kind of referencing in that radio show, like brought music from like Venetian snares to like old rave classics, like and kind of trying to find the common ground in that, and then trying to modernize that. Yeah, I don't know, you know, but like music that I listen to today that I would big up here, not sure, you know. Like I don't know what I pick out. I mean, I listen to a lot of drum and bass, obviously, because I have to. Techno, I guess I was listening to a lot, but I've really cleansed myself from listening to music a little bit in the last few years while I was finishing the album. I don't know why, but I'm only recognizing that right now that you asked me this question, I guess.
Okay, no problem. What's your favorite track of your album?
Of my own album? Difficult to say. I was thinking maybe I don't know. Maybe Perspective, because it's just very simple and does what it's supposed to do. It's also the last thing I wrote for it, the most recent tune, and it has nothing in it. And I quite like that the vibe of it and the atmosphere it puts forward. It's more than the sum of its parts, you know. And so I'm happy with that for it.
Okay. On this show, you also said that you made political music. Another tune that I thought of was, for instance, Problem with Skittles, which is pretty politic. And I would say a lot of electronic music scenes are pretty political, like also the drum bass scene. Would you say that more producers should put bold and striking messages into their music, except from like lyrics?
Yeah, I mean, I made that point then. I mean, at the moment, the world is changing fast and it's changing in a bad direction. You know, I think if you don't notice that as a human being, you're not paying attention. So yes, it's supposed to have some sort of effect on music, shouldn't it? You know, end of the day, what is drum and bass? Is it just like, you know, like a tunes that people can dance to when they're drunk? You know, is that all that the platform is to us? And I'm not saying that I use that a lot, but I was using Amit's tune Swastika, which is like a really, really powerful tune. It's just like, has all these like, you know, like this disembodied voice kind of saying, talking about fascism basically. And fascism is like horribly on the rise at the moment. Well, you know, I think there's a place for that. I'm not saying that I'm the person that like bring that, but it's happening. And I think art and politics go hand in hand. You know, there's all the people who say like, "Oh, you're an artist, you shouldn't say anything political." And it makes no sense whatsoever. You know, it's exactly what it is to make art and to be political. At least somewhere it is. You know, but yeah, drum and bass and the music, the bass music that we do, it tends to, it's a bit happy-go-lucky. You know what I mean? Like it's like sick tunes, big drops. But there's more to life.
Are you involved into political or social actions besides expressing yourself through music?
No, I couldn't say that. I mean, you know, we have discussions in our house, and I would like to be more that, but I couldn't claim anything like that. You know, like no, you know, I definitely should be doing that more. And I have friends that are far more active in that, and I really admire them for that. But maybe I have the time now that I quit.
All right. Last political question. How did you handle the whole Brexit situation?
Oh yeah, that was an interesting time. Because, you know, like you could paraphrase the outcome as like, oh, you know, somebody like a Dutch person who makes drum and bass and pays tax here is probably not what we want. But then like my friends that were there, that are English, that you know, have like, they're being confronted with this situation, they have it far worse. My heart breaks for that whole situation. I mean, like, just English politics, shouldn't really talk about that right now, because it's you know, the worst of the worst time it's been in a long time, I think. But yeah, it's just sad to see. It's weird that when I play in England now, I need to get a stamp in my passport, and I used to live there, you know. But then, you know, I think phases, huh? Like things go around in phases, and things will get better in that sense. But you know, for me, I already made the choice to leave England. I didn't leave because of Brexit. It didn't help, and I wasn't returning because of it. I think for living there, and London as a city was like kind of running out for me, in the sense that the future that you could possibly have there was you know, it's a super expensive city. So how are you gonna raise a family there? That was more the choice and the reason that I left. But yeah, it's just like what I was saying. The world is changing in the bad direction, and to not be aware of it is to not pay attention. I think, like, you know, yeah. But I don't know, positivity. We're at the end of this interview almost, and I don't know where the positivity is coming from, but it's got to come from somewhere, right? Like,
I think we will gain a lot during the next 2-3 hours when you play your music.
Yeah.
I've got like 3 more questions, but we answered them anyway. At the end, I only wanted to ask you if people want to hear more about you, like, and listening to your music or see you online, offline, where can they find you?
Instagram is what I do the most. It's Icicle_music. I'm taking a, like, I had a busy summer, but I wasn't taking all the shows I was getting. But next year because it's my last, I'm gonna try and keep the diary quite full, go everywhere, so people can come and see me. But yeah, Icicle_music on Instagram is my most used platform. Otherwise, it's Icicle Music, as one word on Facebook.
All right. Anything you want to let the audience know?
Anything? I don't know. You know, have a listen to my album if you want. Post on Spotify, you know, there's always hope. There's always hope.
All right, thank you very much, guys, to listen to an interview with Icicle. And now, for everyone who couldn't attend our event, we're going to play some of his music that he's going to play today as part of our radio show, if the recordings don't crash. Yeah. Okay, thank you for being here and taking your time.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
All right.